Something to Say, written by David Small, illustrated by Crown Publishing. In this book, you'll find out that no matter how old you are or how young you are, if you have a dream and a desire, set up, do it, and don't let anybody discourage you. The town of Nada, Texas was a small town. You could stand on one side of the town, whisper something, and it could be heard on the other side. Still, Nada had a few things in it. There was a general store, an abandoned train depot, a three-legged dog, and the world headquarters for universal peace and understanding. The world headquarters was the home of Miss Ruby Mae Foote. Ruby Mae had a big dream. She wanted to speak at the United Nations in New York City to deliver her message of universal peace and understanding. Ruby Mae had a big problem. She was tongue-tied. She sometimes mixed up the letters of her words. This is nothing like a well-known tricycle. Without meaning to, she insulted people. "Ruby Mae, you look mighty cool in that cotton dress." "You don't look so hot yourself," she replied. At other times, for no apparent reason, she was just incomprehensible. Coulda, woulda, fizz, whizzle. Because of this, the residents of Nada had written Miss Ruby Mae off as a goofball. Billy Bob was Ruby Mae's young nephew. He wanted to be an inventor of things that would benefit all humanity. But try as he might, he couldn't think of anything new. Then one day, he had an idea. He went into the kitchen. Cupboard doors banged, drawers slammed, utensils clashed. Shortly, Billy Bob emerged with his new invention. It was an old colander with new things wired on it. Around the top, a nutcracker, a bottle opener, a pastry brush. On top, some holiday pine cones. "Aunt Ruby Mae," he exclaimed, "your troubles are over. Put this on and get ready to give your message to the world." "Feel anything?" asked Billy Bob. Ruby Mae shook her head. "Speak," urged the nephew. He made a few adjustments. "Anything now?" "Nothing, Billy Bob," she replied. Bibby Bob. Removing it from his aunt's head, the boy disappeared into the kitchen. Moments later, he returned with a new apparatus. He had taken off pine cones and added melon scoop ball and a wire whisk, corkscrew standing right on top. And it worked. "7 years ago," she said. Nothing daunted Ruby Mae now that she could speak. First, she became mayor of Nada, the governor of Texas. Hers was a meteoric rise. Curiously, she never appeared in public without a big hat. Billy Bob's invention was in need of a name. They called it the Bobotron. As time went on, Billy Bob made new additions to the improvements of the original design, and this Bobotron grew, and so did Aunt Ruby Mae's hats. At last it happened. Ruby Mae was invited to the United Nations in New York City. She and Billy Bob took a taxi from the airport to the United Nations Plaza. For the special occasion, she wore an enormous hat covered with doves of peace. Then disaster struck. With a rush of wings and a savage shriek, a pigeon hawk swooped down from a nearby skyscraper, snatched the hat in its powerful talons. Away the bird flew to some distant eyrie, taking with it the doves of peace, the hat, and the Bobotron. Ruby Mae looked pale and unnerved. Billy Bob whispered, "Aunt Ruby Mae, I've been meaning to tell you, you don't need that. It's all in your head. You can give your message without it." Smiling weakly, Ruby Mae went into the auditorium. Flashbulbs popped, cameras whirled, satellites shot pictures of Ruby Mae around the globe as she ascended to the podium. Guests from every nation in the world held their breath in eager anticipation about the words to be spoken. Ruby Mae cleared her throat, opened her mouth, and began to speak. "Nizam Foot Whirlwhoop." Her words were a meaningless babble. In the translator's booth, panic broke out. They pawed through dictionaries of 93 languages, but none could decipher one word she said. In the auditorium, people tapped their earphones and shook their heads. Meanwhile, a small boy raced to the exit. Billy Bob fled to the stairs and sped to the basement. In the gigantic United Nations kitchen, hors d'oeuvres for 6,000 were being prepared. Billy Bob had no time to explain. He ripped the necessary equipment from the chef's hands, assembled it as the elevator rose back to the 3rd floor, ran to the podium, clapped the Bobotron onto his aunt's head. As Ruby Mae turned to the audience, her head crowned with this tangle of copper and aluminum, wire and mild titter arose in the room. The titter grew to a chorus of guffaws and cackles. At last, the whole lot of world leaders around the world convulsed with laughter. Then Ruby Mae Foote stepped forward and raised her hand in silence. "My friends," she said in a level tone, "leaders of the world, my message to you is simple. To achieve universal peace and understanding on this planet, you have only to speak plainly. Even though you may look foolish, this is 1,000 times better than looking good and talking nonsense." The planet Earth was small. You could stand on one side, whisper something, and hear it on the other side. Still, Earth had a few things on it. For one thing, it had Nada, Texas, Miss Ruby Mae Foote, and the world headquarters of universal peace and understanding. This book carefully illustrates that if you have a dream, don't let anybody discourage you. Do what you set out to do and have enough will and desire to do it and conquer it.